rocking with some of the realest coaches in the game. Coach RB and Coach CB. Area code 459.
Hey guys, welcome to the Area Code 459 podcast. It's your boy, Coach RB, and I'm here with my co-host, Coach CB. What's up, Caitlin?
What's up, Coach? You ready?
Man, I'm ready. Man, we got a special guest in the house tonight, but before we get to our special guest, I do want you to thank a couple people. Take it away, Caitlin.
Man, we just like to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, In-House Ink, J-May Crafts, and East Bay. They've helped us do a great job of getting all of our logos and our gear together. We're excited to drop that to you guys soon. Most importantly, we want to thank all of the people that have been behind us, our family, our friends, and more importantly, God. We couldn't have done this without you guys.
All right, man. I am so excited because this is our second mini-series called Conceptual Origins of Success, and we got our first guest in the house talking about the mind. The guest that I have to you is the owner of Ghost Player Development. He's the founder. The motto is all work, no luck. You get what you earn. He's also the co-founder of One Family AAU Club. He has over 45 and counting college athletes, 12 professional athletes, and he's a brand new father. What's up, Coach Darryl Hardin? How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Man, absolutely. We're just so blessed to have you, man. We're starting a new mini-series. And before we get started, I'm going to let Caitlin go ahead and talk about our first actual part of it. It's called the mind. Conceptual Origins of Success with the mind. Take it away, Caitlin.
Man, for this series, it's something that kind of hits home to me. You always want to find a way to be successful, and it always starts within yourself. And the thought process, the mind, that's kind of where you think of all your ideas. So when you got the mental process going, you always want to be thinking of a vision, thinking of where you want your future to go. And at the same time, you don't want to be too arrogant, too cocky. So you're going to have to learn how to check your ego along the way. So today, those are the two things you want to talk about: shaping your vision and checking your ego. So at the beginning stages of your program, Coach, what level of mental toughness did you have to endure, knowing there were bigger named programs out there that were going to put yours down?
I think the biggest thing for us was we got our young guys to focus on the work, and we told them the results will follow. And so we followed that simple game plan, and we went and took on those big name programs early, and we played them in their gyms. And at first they got the best of us. And as we came back from, we call them lessons instead of losses. When we came back from those lessons, our guys were more locked in, and they were sharper in practice, and they were hungry for success. And so the next time around, we came back, and a lot of those times we won those games early, the second go around, just because our guys played harder and we've been working harder. So we kind of got to ignore them putting us down, because it's hard to ignore results, and we were beating some of those big name programs early.
Man, Coach, man, that's great. And one of the things that Caitlin's always told me, and I got to hear her say this on an earlier episode, was, sometimes these lessons, I want you, Coach, to turn them into, or these losses, I want you to turn these losses into lessons. She does work for Nike basketball out of Atlanta, and she's, pushing for a college career. And that's just so valuable for a young player to take that. And I know that you instill that into your young players as well. Like I said, I read your motto before we got started. And, the motto said, all work, no luck. You get what you earn. So, you know what I mean? Like, they got back,
Right.
got back in the gym, they got better. Name for us a couple of things that you would do to maintain focus for your vision, like as a whole.
Yeah, I think it was we never really let these guys minds wander in terms of challenging them. We challenged them different ways. Basketball mainly, but just goals. Like, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you playing basketball? Why are you picking our program? When we first started, we were college students at Florida State. So why are you deciding to rock with us? And we always challenged them, and I think that kept them focused. I don't think we ever had to, hey, man, you got to lock in on this, because they were always being presented with different challenges.
Man, I think that's so important, because that's what keeps you hungry. That's what keeps you growing. And I know that you work with a lot of top talent, and want to name one, Nasir Little. How do you keep guys like that not getting complacent when they return back to their high schools? Because I know a lot of times when you go back to high school basketball, you're the best of the best in the whole entire area. So how do you keep them focused during the year when they're not with you, so they don't become complacent and they keep working towards that vision?
Good. Well, I think we honestly, me and Lee, we do a good job in our program of identifying kids with a chip on their shoulder, and Nasir was definitely one of those guys. He wasn't a top guy young, and he was just oozing with talent. You could see it. It wasn't hard to recognize it, but you know, he was overlooked, and so we kind of honed in on that and kept reminding him, like, yo, like, just the other day you weren't this, and now now you're finding success. Like, the end goal for you is to play at the highest level, and so you can't become complacent in high school, and you can't become complacent at AAU. You have to, every time you go out, you have to show and prove, who you are as a player, but more so who you are as a person. And I think the commitment to excellence was great for him. He out of most kids, like, he was into that. Like, it didn't take you long to remind him, hey man, like, just a year ago you weren't the guy you are now. So let's keep pushing forward.
And that's a great kid, man. I even followed him a little bit in high school, and I really got a lot more on him as he got a little bit older in high school. And he's a great kid. Graduated with over a 4.0 GPA from high school.
Yep.
From a really good family. I like what you said, Coach. Like, identify the chip on your shoulder. Like, when I saw him play in high school, he was just a beast. You know what I mean? Just a beast.
Yeah.
He was everywhere inside of 15 foot. Like, nobody could stop him. He was quicker than everybody his size. And he was more powerful than people smaller than him. But when he got to North Carolina, a lot of guys like Jay Billis would say things like, hey, he needs to develop an outside jump shot if he wants to be able to go to the NBA.
Correct.
You could just kind of see as that season progressed at North Carolina, he kept getting better. And then, I watch a lot of ACC games. Mike Krzyzewski is one of my guys. I love, Duke basketball. But I would actually see, like, Nasir hit that outside jump shot and beat him. And then when, they called his name for the Blazers, I was like, man, that is really, really, really good. What that kind of brings me to this next point is, what part of your program do you institute like a mental component? Because, to me, that's got to be a mental thing, right? He's a beast from high school. Can't nobody stop him inside 15 feet. He gets to college, and they're telling him, hey, you're not going to go into the draft, or you're not going to be a lottery pick unless you get a jumper. So he has to change something mental-wise, and I know that he learned a lot of that from your program. So what mental component do you guys have in your program, Coach?
It's the work, right? So, right now the best player in our era is LeBron James. And each year, this guy is going and working on something to improve on. Each year, he comes back and he adds something new to his game. Year 5, he couldn't shoot himself. And now, you have to respect him out there. So with Nas, we flew back and forth to North Carolina to spend time in the gym with him and just, again, focus on what everyone say their weaknesses is. With Ghost player development and with One Family AAU, the same thing. Me and Lee are similar. We focus on guys' weaknesses. So if someone's telling you, hey man, you can't do this, we lock in on it. So as Jay Billis and all the scouts are saying, he needs to hit an outside jumper consistently, we're going in and putting the time in. And so the mental part for me is just watching the reps. Like, he's getting reps and he's getting good reps, and he's watching that shot go in over and over in workouts and in practices. So, that result follows in the game. And I think that was the biggest thing for him, is he just never, rested on his athleticism and his strength and his around the basket game. He always knows he has to get better. And we're looking forward to seeing him, when they start this restart, because he's shooting it even better than he ever has.
Oh,
currently.
Man, that's awesome, Coach. That's awesome. I can't wait to see that too. Like I said, I was following him a little bit, at the end of his high school career. But as he got into college, just because I coached in the same area with Coach Lee Looper, man, I just thought to myself, like, Looper, I just was like, man, I want to see this guy progress. And I can tell that he had been taught at a young age and was taken care of by some good dudes. So definitely he's gonna shine. Go ahead, Caitlin.
I love that you guys focus on weaknesses. I think that's important. My motto is 1% better every day. So you're always working on a thing to grow and continue to improve yourself. And it keeps you humble, to always focus on those weaknesses, so you're not hyper-focusing on your strengths. What are some things that you do to help check your ego to make sure that you remain humble and remain in a place where you can learn every day?
I try to keep it in perspective. You know, I'm a Christian man, so for me, at the end of the day, like our time here is limited, and you know, we have a higher power that we call on to, and so we never get too high or too low for our successes, and I think that's why we have found, you know, this steady climb with our program and with our players and with the training company as well. Is just we're taking it one day at a time, and I think when you're in it and you're focusing on improving, I think that keeps you humble.
Yeah.
Right. Coach, and I really like that too, man. Like I said, I've followed you guys for a while, man. I know you guys worked on when you guys were students at Florida State. I remember the baggy pink and black, joints that you have sometimes, you know what I mean? I remember you guys first got on the, the Under Armour circuit and, didn't
Yeah,
do so
man.
well, but, you just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. And, t-shirt joints when you first started with one family and then, just growing and growing and growing. So I know that when you constantly work with top kids, do you have tools that help them mentally stay focused to the process, continue to work towards your vision? When you say, work towards their vision, how does that component work with your vision of what you want to see your program do?
Right. I think for, the first thing we're trying to do in our program, when we first started it, our 8th grade team was all single parent homes. And so we were trying to give guys an opportunity to show them that you can use basketball to get to college and to change, your future. Just getting to school and getting a degree and leaving college debt free and having this network from your university was a thing for us. Now, as we're blessed with different guys, I think each player needs a different, thing. Like we don't approach each kid the same way. I don't coach every player the same way. I don't train every player the same way. We build relationships with these guys and we find out how they're thinking and find out what they want. And, we work together to improve. Obviously, my goal with my personal vision is to continue to help young guys be successful in basketball. And the next step for us is, building a gym here in Orlando and having a place that we can call home, and guys are in and out of there, and we're not searching for gym space or anything like that. And I think all of these young guys and their parents are searching for, success with basketball to get a scholarship to college and to make money playing basketball. So that's our common ground, and that's what we stick our feet in the mud with, and we continue to build on.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. And vision is so important because it gives you a path to know where to go for your future. And I always say you want to turn that dream into a reality. You can always dream it, but if you don't get up and take those action steps to make it happen, then it's never going to happen. Yeah. And, I read a lot. And one of the books I read, it says, first you got to have a vision, then you have to write that vision down, and then you have to take steps to make sure that vision can come to fruition. So how do you teach your principles to the young men in your program to like I said, have a vision, write it down, and then take the steps towards it?
Yeah, it's commitment, right? If you're committed to something, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna do it. And so we the first thing with me in particular, when I find out if a guy loves it or not, that alarm clock's going off at 4:30 in the morning. You got to be at the gym at 5. And so when these guys are showing up, months on end at 5 in the morning, my thing to them is not everyone's doing this. And, I got that from Kobe Bryant on how to extend your day and how to get in more time. So I challenge them with, if you can be committed to this and basketball being the first thing you do in the morning, your game's going to grow. And so the vision part for them is just having conversations on, hey, what do you really want to do with this? Aside from your parents pushing you, aside from me pushing you, it's just what you really want to do, or how do you see yourself in the future? Are you a guy that is just trying to be a college, Division I athlete? Are you trying to be all conference? Are you trying to be an All-American? Are you trying to make money after you're done with college playing basketball? And so each kid is, like I said, is something different. So once we identify what they're doing it for, we kind of push those buttons to keep them going.
Wow.
Right, coach. Like when you know, and I don't coach anymore, but when I coach, I never question a kid's passion sometimes because you know, I feel like kids are kids, right?
Yeah.
Where energy goes, energy flows, right? So wherever you put your energy to, it's gonna flow back to you. Where you what you bring into your heart is what your heart puts out. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you know,
Right.
I get that with the passion and the heart. But the one thing that I always found so tough for kids was just the mental part of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how could they actually set their mind to the task? You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you would say, hey, you got this kid or you got this team, you know, that you got to play. You don't want to overlook them. You know, you got to get mentally prepared for the game. Or, hey,
Yeah.
you got an AAU tournament in 2 weeks. You know, it's going to have X amount of coaches there. You got to be mentally locked in. You got to revert back to your fundamentals. You know, and so I would always find that was always a tough thing. What do
Yeah.
you create to maintain mental success?
I think for like you said, like all that stuff is opportunity, right? So mentally, if you do not take care of A, B, and C, you're gonna get your butt whooped, and you're gonna get embarrassed. So it's kind of a little bit of for the AAU side, it's kind of a little bit of, I don't want to necessarily say fear, but you don't want to be embarrassed. And so we put certain things and we present certain things to them, you know, verbally, like, hey man, this is your challenge for this week. And we kind of do little things like, hey, you got to make 300 shots. You know, you said you're 2 weeks away from AAU tournament. Every day you got to make 300 shots. And then you have to go train. And if you do those two things for the day, we know they're in good shape heading into that event. And we had a kid one time, like, you know, a top 50 kid at the time. He's getting offers from everywhere. And he knew he wasn't working the way he was supposed to work. Went into the next event and he played horrible. And so for us, it was you know, we got him in front of everybody and he told everybody, like, hey man, I skipped my work this week. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't feel right on the court because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And so he said it in front of the other players and they recognized, like, yeah, like everybody is susceptible to this. Like if you're not putting the time in, you're not gonna get what you want out of it. And so we kind of get like little small things that we target and we never really talk about the main thing or the big thing. We just try to build it up going into that so these guys are ready, and we tell them stories of failure. We tell them stories of success. And if you do these things, you can find success. If you don't do these things, you're going to find failure. And so it's kind of that kind of approach to it.
Well, Coach, I'm gonna put you on the spot, man. I want to know if you don't mind, because like I said, I've been following you guys for a while, and I have seen improvement on a lot of your players. Like, you know, you had Deontay Smith that was in the Panhandle, my conference, and I mean, he was just playing out there, like he was basically like, it's a cakewalk. I'm gonna do 40 tonight. You know what I mean? And it really was easy for him. What is I want to know your top guy that you've ever coached mentally, and I want to know the top player that you ever coached that got the most improvement. I want you to name two for me.
The top guy mentally,
and why? Tell me why too. I want to know why.
I would say it's the tie for Tyree Crump, who went to Georgia. He was our first like big name guy, and so we put so much on his shoulders as an eighth, as a ninth grader, as a sophomore. Like he was the face of our program, and he knew that, and he took on that challenge of to grow this program is going to happen with me. So I would say mentally, it would be, you know, him just off of the fact that everything was on him, and we're going wherever you go, we're going. And he embraced that. And we have moments of when he was in 8th grade and, you know, we're doing a late night workout. So when we would go to early on in the hotels, we would be running our guys about 10 o'clock at night, just running them, pushing them, ball handling drills outside, you know, in the hotel, you know, parking lot, like getting after it. And just one day he just broke down, you know, about his situation at home and how he, you know, basketball isn't a given for him. And how much he loved the game of basketball, and we was just like, and he broke down into tears. And so once we saw that, we knew we had a kid that was very passionate about this game and passionate. He was the first to say, I'm never putting on another jersey, no matter how many big teams came after him. And again, he finished top 40 in the country. So it was easier for us to recruit younger guys and show them, hey, you can follow this model and get everything you want. We were independent. Right. And, man, like independent kids don't get ranked on ESPN or Rivals. This is an independent guy. And, like I said, he's finishing top 40. So mentally, I think it's him. We put everything on his shoulders. And then, as he went, guys came behind David Nickelberry, Ronaldo Segou, Nas Little. Like, they came and took our program to another level. But I would say mentally it's him. The kid that I seen improve the most is within a year, I got this kid, Kai Jones. He's at Texas.
Okay. I live in Austin, so.
Okay, yeah. He came to me his junior year of high school at OCP. He's about 6'6", probably 155, 165. And he moves in with me and Nas, and we're going at it every day. And, God blessed him. He kept growing. Like, he left, when he left my house, he was 6'9", like 205 or 195. And, he went to Brewster for that 1 year for his senior year. And then, he enrolled in Texas. But I've never seen a kid make that huge of a jump from no offers, nobody knows who he is, no anything, to going from unranked to unknown to top 40 to committing to Texas in the Big 12 just in a year. Wow. Now, Nas's growth was unbelievable as well. Just, for him, it was from ninth grade up into senior year. Right. The first 2 years, he's driving to me in Tallahassee, and I'm driving to him in Jacksonville. And then the last 2 years, we were here in Orlando. And you can just see Nas growing as a player, his footwork, his ball handling, his shooting. You can see it because he was a post when we first met. Right, and, he was making that transition into becoming a guard. And, by the time he played in the McDonald's All-American game, you can see all of his ball skills in that event. And so improvement-wise, I tell people I've never seen anyone improve as quick as Kai. And I've never seen someone, like, do what Nas did in terms of go from unranked to number 2 in the country.
To a lottery draft pick.
I've seen
it. Like, even his growth in North Carolina, I was like, man, like, at first, Jay Billis was giving him the business. Was like, yo, like, he's got the size, he's got this, he's got that, but he will not be able to step on the NBA court until he hits that shot. And then by the end of the season, he was just like, get me in the corner. Okay.
And he's his parents are amazing people. And so, like, with him, it was just his level of focus is unmatched. And his attention to detail for a young kid, I haven't seen anything like it. Like, you don't have to repeat yourself to him. You say, hey, Nas, you need to do this with your feet. He's doing it within the third rep. And so it was always a joy working with him. And I always had to get better because he was constantly getting better. And so he was challenging me just as much as I was challenging him. And that is just who he is as a person. Like, improving, that's it. Like, he wants to be the best at everything. Like you said, in high school, he had a 4.2. He's a salutatorian of his high school. And, we brought chess around his junior year, and I'm beating him every time. And then, little do I know, this man studying. He's looking up moves and looking at how to improve. And, a few months later, he popped me in a game of chess. And I'm just looking at him and, like, that's just who he is. He's addicted to improving, and he wants to be the best at what he's doing.
Locked in that mental game, man. That mental game is serious.
I think that's so important because, like, when I was in college, that was where I struggled. I could do everything in practice. I could do everything when the lights were off. When the lights came on, it's like I was a snowman and I melted. And so it didn't happen for me until my senior year. But in the middle of a game, I I went for 24, and that's crazy because I was coming off the bench. I wasn't supposed to score 24. I was just supposed to come in and do my job so the starter could come back in. And I looked at my coach and I said, I'm done being scared. Like, I'm done being afraid. I know the work I put in. I'm going to trust that, and I'm going to believe in that work and that process. And ever since then, when I started having that mental success in my mind every day, that's when really my life turned around and my game turned around. And it was like night and day. I never experienced another opportunity like that.
Right. That's big time, because I think, my job in getting young guys over the hump is getting them to trust their work. Like, if you, like I said, when we did the 5 a.m.s, it was a mental edge for a 15, 16-year-old kid. Like, bro, you're getting up at 5 and you're playing against other 16-year-olds that's not working out till 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, by that time, you on your second, third workout. So, and going to school and doing this. So, like, why would you not take this shot if you've seen it go in 1,000 times in the morning? You earn the right to take that shot. And so, like you said, it's a huge mental hurdle to do it in a game, but you just have to trust your work. And if you're putting in your work, that's what your confidence should come from. And, confidence is everything in a game of basketball.
Man, I hope that our listeners really do take that nugget. Well, Coach, at the end of our episodes, we like to huddle up, man. I know you've done plenty of huddles, man. When you huddle up, you get to reflect on the day, you get to reflect on the moment, and this is our time to call to action. We basically tell our viewers and our listeners, like, hey, this is what we want you to work on. This is what we want you to take from our podcast. And we call it our C2A, or our call to action. I'm gonna let Caitlin start, and then I'll throw it to you, and then I'll finish up. Caitlin, what are your call to action today?
Well, from my past experience, for me to get over my mental hurdle, I had to constantly repeat successful thoughts to myself. So I want you guys to write down 2 to 3 thoughts that you can repeat to yourself every day that target your weaknesses, and see how it allows you to have that mental freedom to do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Cool. My call to action would be commitment. I think that's the biggest thing in every aspect of life. If you want to be a great basketball player or great husband or a great teacher or whatever, you have to be committed to it. And so for me, I'm calling everyone to be committed to their grind and to whatever they want to be.
Man, I like both your call to action, man. We had a mental one. Coach, you just talked about commitment. I'm going to stay on that vibe that you guys are on, man. And Coach said something earlier that really struck me. It said, your reps lead to your results. Your reps lead to your results. And he said that his biggest thing was trying to get players to trust their work. So what I want you to do is I want you just to pick one thing that you want to get better at and work at it. You know what I mean? Just one thing you want to get better at, work at it, commit to it, and write it down and tell yourself over and over, I can get this done. If it's, like I said, playing basketball, then get up at the 5 a.m. and put in the work before everyone else puts in the work. If it's like, hey, I want to be a better reader, I want to gain more knowledge, go out there, join a book club, join something that makes you better at what you do. Because I really believe what Coach said, your reps lead to your results, and you need to trust your work. So that's my call to action. Just pick one thing, trust in it, commit to it, and drive to get better as we live in this world of COVID-19. Man, I'm so blessed to have you, Coach. Man, thank you so much. We always end our episodes with the mottos. I'll actually let you start, Coach. Do you have a motto or something that you leave your players with every time you leave the practice?
Yeah, my motto is what you just said. Like, reps lead to results. Simple. As simple as that. It's just as simple as that.
I love it, Coach. I love it. All right. And mine is, let love be the frequency. Like right here in our community, we just like to build this love culture so that it breeds self-empowerment. Coach B loves you. Let love be the frequency.
And mine is just, let's get 1% better every day.
Nice.
All right, Coach. Man, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. We're going to be getting with you, man. And thank you for stopping by area code 459. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you guys for having me. Bye.
Anytime.
Bye.